This thing is a beast for gaming and everything else, but let me explain why. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've been running the Skytech Gaming Prism 4 for a few weeks now, and honestly, it's one of those PCs that just disappears into the background because it does everything so smoothly. Whether I'm streaming, editing videos, or just blasting through the latest AAA titles at max settings, this machine doesn't even blink. The AMD Ryzen 9 9950X 3D is no joke, 16 cores, 32 threads, and that 3D V-cache really makes a difference in games like Cyberpunk 2077 or Starfield. I've seen frame rates stay locked at 144 plus even with ray tracing cranked up, and that's with the RTX 5080 pushing pixels. The GPU alone is overkill for most people, but if you're serious about 4K gaming or heavy creative workloads, it's exactly what you need. Now, the cooling setup is where this thing really shines. Skytech didn't cheap out, they went with a 360mm AIO liquid cooler, and it keeps the CPU temps in the low 70s even under full load. I've pushed this rig for hours during editing sessions, and it never once thermal throttled. The case itself is solid too, it's got great airflow, and the RGB lighting is tasteful without being overwhelming. The 4TB Gen 4 NVMe SSD is another standout. Loading times are non-existent, and I've got room for dozens of games, projects, and media files without worrying about storage. The 64GB of DDR5 RAM is overkill for gaming right now, but it future-proofs the system for whatever comes next, especially if you're into 3D rendering or heavy multitasking. One thing I really appreciate is the build quality. The X870 board is paired with a 1000W Gold ATX 3 PSU, which means this PC can handle upgrades down the line without needing a full rebuild. The Wi-Fi 5 support is fine for most setups, though if you're on a wired connection, you won't even notice it. The Windows 11 installation is clean, no bloatware, no junk apps clogging things up. It boots up fast and stays stable, which is exactly what you want from a high-end machine. Now, let's talk about the downsides. First, this thing is huge. If you're working with a small desk or tight space, the 360mm radiator might be a tight fit. I had to rearrange my setup to make room, and even then, it's a bit of a beast. Second, the power draw is no joke. Under full load, this PC can pull close to 800 watts, so make sure your outlet and power setup can handle it. It's not a deal breaker, but it's something to consider if you're running on a budget or have an older electrical system. For the price, though, you're getting a lot of performance packed into one box. If you're a gamer who wants to max out every title at 1440p or 4K, or a creator who needs raw power for editing and rendering, this PC delivers. It's not for everyone, most people don't need this much firepower, but if you do, it's a fantastic choice. So, if you're in the market for a top-tier gaming or workstation PC, the Skytech Gaming Prism 4 is absolutely worth a look. Link is below if you want to check it out. For most buyers, the real question is not whether Skytech Gaming Prism 4 desktop PC, Ryzen 9 9950X 3D 4.3 GHz, 5.7 GHz NVIDIA RTX 5080 16GB, X870 board, 4TB Gen 4 NVMe SSD, 64GB DDR5 RAM 6000 RGB, 1000W Gold ATX 3 PSU, 360mm RGB AIO, Wi-Fi, Win 11 sounds impressive on paper, but whether strengths like AMD Ryzen 9 9950X 3D 4.3 GHz, 5.7 GHz Turbo Boost, CPU processor, and NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5080 16GB GDDR7 graphics card, brand may actually make daily use feel easier, more dependable, and more worthwhile after the first few days of excitement wear off. It is also smart to think about long-term satisfaction. A product like Skytech Gaming Prism 4 desktop PC, Ryzen 9 9950X 3D 4.3 GHz, 5.7 GHz NVIDIA RTX 5080 16GB, X870 board, 4TB Gen 4 NVMe SSD, 64GB DDR5 RAM 6000 RGB, 1000W Gold ATX 3 PSU, 360mm RGB AIO, Wi-Fi, Win 11 usually feels like the better buy when it stays convenient, comfortable, and reliable in normal everyday use instead of only looking good in the listing.